a week to fill in for Kyle Draper here on Celtics Post Up, presented by Coastal Heritage Bank. I am Abby Chin alongside Sherrod Blakely and Chris Forsberg, our insiders. Gentlemen, Kemba to Boston, your thoughts?
That jumped up quickly.
Yeah.
It went from stealth suitors 2 days ago to, well, let's find Kemba an apartment in Boston because here he comes. It's really remarkable, and it speaks a lot to what the Celtics, why Danny Ainge was so confident on draft night, where he came out and said, people are dying to play in Boston. And we're like, does he have something up his sleeve? And maybe we should have known once they moved Aaron Baines. Sure felt like they were trying to get the max cap space. Now, listen, they've still got some things to figure out, how to fill out this front court, but just getting Kemba here, signaling to the league that they don't plan to step back, that they're still planning to be competitive, is just such a coup for this team. And let's face it, like, is he as good of a player as Kyrie Irving? It's close, but the headaches will be far less, and you feel like it'll be a breath of fresh air for this team.
And it feels as though Danny was kind of leaving some breadcrumbs for us. You know, when he was talking about the rookies about, yeah, we want guys who are humble and hardworking and will do whatever role that we ask them to play. And then he ended by talking about, but you still need guys with talent. And when you start going through that checklist that he laid out for us, it's freaking Kemba Walker to a T. and that, to me, it says not only his understanding of what he could potentially land as far as talent, but also where the temperature around the league was as far as Kemba going back to Charlotte. Danny had to have known that Charlotte was not going to come with that super max contract, and I think he had a sense that if we can get to a max contract level as far as our cap space, we have as good a shot as anyone.
All right, so let's go with Kemba's coming to Boston. Cardiac Kemba, here we come. What does that mean? Let's take a look at his numbers compared to Kyrie Irving this past season. It's brought to you by Coastal Heritage Bank, your partner for community-focused banking. Kemba had the edge in scoring all 3 games. I mean, he really ran all over the Celtics in those 3 games. When both guards played against each other, Kemba averaged 33 points per game. He also hit 18 of 19 free throws, so he got to the line and dished out 6 assists per game. How do you feel about the fit here in Boston, and what does that mean for the young guys a la Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? Sherrod?
Well, the one thing about Kemba Walker that he's always shown is just the ability to compete, and I think that is going to trickle down more than anything else for this team. A guy that is going to go out there, and you're never going to question how badly he wants to win, or his understanding of how he needs his teammates to help that come about. Kemba is going to be fine. I think the one thing I worry about is the ball movement, something that Brad Stevens is very big on. Kemba...
It was a huge issue last year.
Well, it was last year in Boston. And with Kemba, he's a great scorer, but he is also a guy that I think can get others involved. Big issue with him. He didn't really have guys to play with that could kind of make shots like a Jason Tatum or a Gordon Hayward. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be a very seamless fit. And Brad Stevens is going to find a way to make it work.
Kemba and Gordon Hayward almost teammates back in 2014 when Charlotte made an offer sheet. I think they'll be fine playing together. Maybe, Gordon can come out and say it's going to be Crazy K or something like that. But I think they'll be a good fit together. I do think Kemba, not quite as much of a ball-dominant guard, is going to be willing to share it, can work off the ball. The question, of course, is going to be how do you balance that with developing the young guys? You want to make sure they still get their shots. And the big question mark moving forward is in the front court. All right, you've lost Al Horford, you've lost Aaron Baines, you've lost Marcus Morris in order to bring Kemba in. How do you fill that void? They've got not a lot of resources to work with. That's a huge question mark moving forward, and yet you've got your max guy. You've got the guy who can keep your offense afloat. It's a problem the Celtics can figure out from here.
I would say so. Here's what his college coach, Jim Calhoun, thinks about Kemba Walker.
He's 25 points a game, so he can bring a lot to Boston. Obviously, very few point guards in the league can do that. He's almost unstoppable going to the rim, which makes no sense for a 5'10" guy to do that, but he does it. But I think the big thing is that he makes Tatum, he makes Brown. He helps Gordon Hayward come back. He makes a lot of terrific plays be exceptional plays, and that's the thing I think that there are very few guys that you're going to get in basketball. Not only are they really good, but they make others better, both psychologically, winning-wise, and, I mean, he can really pass the ball. I mean, he averaged like 6 assists a game and 5 rebounds and 25 points. Special talent who can make other folks better and he brings special things to his teammates. Trust me, I was always amazed how much his teammates loved him and followed him.
Guys, we know that about Kemba, but it's still so nice to hear coming off the year that the Celtics experienced with a guy like Kyrie Irving. So how do you think, what does this do for the development of Jason Tatum?
So it's fair to wonder. Like, there was a scenario where this season the Celtics would come in and give Jalen all those shots, give Jason all those shots, and let them develop. Maybe that expedites the process by which they become more like stars in this league. I think you put hope in the fact that, like, listen, this Celtics offense, really the last 4 years has not been very good or not very efficient. Even with Kyrie here, you needed another piece to keep this thing afloat if you're going to be a contender. I still think there's a way for everyone to share the ball where if Kemba is on board with giving it out to his teammates, like, they're going to figure out how to make it work, and it fits better with the Brad Stevens offense. I just feel like there's really it's going to help the offense to have Kemba here.
Sherrod, he is going to get a max offer. I mean, he's going to get a max contract.
For sure.
The Celtics obviously have the room, but what does that leave them with? What does this mean as far as money and cap space going forward?
Boy, they are. I mean, they're going to be just absolutely scraping the bottom of the barrel money-wise. They've got the $4.8 million exception that they'll have to use, and that's pretty much the big, money piece that they'll have left. But if you're talking about adding a guy like Kemba Walker, who, if you're talking about winning a championship, you're going to need at least 2 or 3 max salary type players. Kemba, I think, becomes one of those top 2, top 3 pieces for a championship caliber Celtics team. And it's not going to happen overnight. As much as we would love that to be the case, it has to come in steps, and I think this is one of those steps towards that. And with Kemba, one of the things, and I don't think we're going to talk a ton about it until he actually gets here, assuming, knock on wood, he gets here. He plays a ton of minutes. I mean, looking at the draft class that includes Kyrie Irving that he came in with, Kemba has played more minutes than any of those guys. Load management is something that the Celtics have done a really good job of. When you look at the way they brought Gordon along, how they did Al, how they did Kyrie, I think that may also be a factor in why Kemba would want to come here, because I'm coming to a team that, in my stage of my career, I'm going to need some help as far as managing my minutes. Celtics have shown the propensity to be able to do that and do that well.